Hey y'all, it's your girl Sonia, and welcome back to She Say Sports. Anybody in the SWAC knows that it's rivalry week between Jackson State University Tigers and Southern University Jaguars. So in the spirit of this anticipated game, I have with me Southern alum Carlos Brown, host of the Carlos Brown Show, and BJ Jones, host of the Barbershop. I also have JSU alum, co-host of the pregame show, and Inside HBCU Sports Lab, Charles Bishop. Hey guys, how are you today?
How you doing, Sonny?
How you doing, Sonia?
I am doing pretty well. How you doing, Sonia?
I am doing well, guys. Just ready for this huge game this weekend. I'm very excited. I know you guys are as well. So, I'm anticipating it, but nervous at the same time. So, I'm ready for it. I'm ready.
Oh, yeah. This is a big one.
This is a big one. So, as we know, this is a big game, as we both mentioned, and for both teams, and bragging rights are definitely on the line, guys. We do a lot of bragging in SWAC, especially Jackson State and Southern. And so this is huge. We got to bring our A game on both sides and see who comes out with the finished product, which is the W. So I brought you guys on this show this week because we are true Tiger and Jaguar fans, and just wanted to discuss how the teams are faring so far this spring season, game predictions, and each favorite game or games for the matchup. So, BJ, so far, both teams have met 65 times, with one of the longest winning streaks being 2013 to the present for Southern. With what you have seen from both teams this season, do you think the streak will remain for Southern?
I'm hopeful that it will. I think that this Jackson State football team is different than the ones that we've seen in the past. So what I mean by that is not just from a talent standpoint. This Jackson State football team believes that they can win ball games. We're so accustomed to seeing Jackson State in the past where they get down and you can kind of mail it in for the week. But seeing them, the way they competed at Jackson State, the way they competed at Grambling to win that ball game, shows you this is a different Jackson State team. So the culture is different, but the Jags are talented. So I would hope that the streak will remain intact, for my sanity and Carlos's as well. But we know that streak one day is going to come to an end. We just hope that it's not on Saturday.
Oh, it's Saturday. We believe.
Yeah, I mean,
we have bought into we believe.
Yeah, I think that that it's almost community belief now because it is a different looking Jackson State team, and I think to your point, BJ, I think you're right. I think in previous years, Jackson State could get down, and I don't know what crept into the program, but that something vicious malware crept into the program where they got down, and it was just hard to pull them back up. But I think what Coach Prime, Deion Sanders, has brought not just to Jackson State, not just to Jackson State football, but to this Jackson State community, I think there's a collective something that's in the air. And hopefully Saturday it all comes to fruition and everybody can believe again in earnest.
Yes.
I believe that.
Thank you. You believe too, Carlos?
Well, I believe in the rivalry. I believe in the rivalry. And you see confidence. You see a cultural change with Coach Sanders and that staff that they've brought into the Jackson State football program, and they believe. They really believe. And a rivalry, when you look at it technically, it's one side wins a few, then the other side will win a few. One side will have a streak going, the other team will have their streak going. So it'll be interesting to see Saturday as far as X's and O's, of course, but the mental makeup of both teams. And when you have a rivalry, the old cliche, you throw records out of the window. It doesn't matter. But now it is some significance and importance for this ball game, from a conference standpoint, Eastern and Western Division. But Coach Sanders has talked about, wanting to see it, taste it, and just feel this rivalry. He'll get the appetizer. I'll call it this Saturday, the appetizer. Because in the fall, hopefully, he'll get the whole course, the appetizer, the main course, and the dessert of just a tremendous rivalry. I believe it is the top HBCU rivalry in black college football.
No doubt about it.
I agree. You I agree with that, Carlos. He will definitely get the entree, the appetizer, the dessert, everything in the fall. This is definitely just to wet his whistle, if you will, this Saturday.
Just a taste. Yeah, just a taste. A good taste, though.
Yeah, it's gonna be a good one, but I'm definitely excited for the fall games to come up, but I'm excited for Saturday as well. So, but Carlos, speaking of that, regarding the rivalry, through the years, as you know, JSU has always been the top SWAC school in Mississippi, and SU being the top SWAC school in Louisiana. Where did this rivalry come from? You've been around a little bit longer than us, so you've seen this started happening years ago. Where did it start? Do you know?
Well, I can offer my opinion on it.
Okay.
Both fan bases are very, very similar. It's a mirror of each other. I often say on the show, confident, cocky, and arrogant. That is what you see with Southern University and Jackson State fans. Of course, Baton Rouge, the capital of Louisiana, Jackson, the capital of Mississippi. So when you have an outstanding fan base, both fan bases travel well. And then you bring in two outstanding fan base. You have the ingredients for just an intense rivalry. And if you look back, when I first started kind of following black college football, you could easily say that Jackson State had Southern's number. Southern would have talent. Jackson State, of course, had tremendous talent. And then you look at the coaches that have been in this rivalry. So you've had outstanding coaches, outstanding players, outstanding fan base. You just have every ingredient in there. And then there have been some memorable games that I'm sure we'll be asked about and talk about. So just a tremendous rivalry and game. I always look forward to Jackson State. It really gets the energy going, and also the excitement and the blood pressure as well.
Yes. Oh gosh, yes, the blood pressure. That is true.
Yeah.
So, either one of you guys wanted to add on anything before we move on? I just want to make sure.
I think to follow up on what Carlos was saying, I think it kind of depends on which generation of Jackson State fan you ask. For me, growing up in Jackson in the 80s, I remember to the T the night Southern broke up Jackson State's 28-game SWAC win streak, and I was crushed. And when you grow up on Jackson State football like I did in the 80s, you just were not accustomed to a L of any sort. So it was just one of those nights that you never forget. And to Southern, they partied hard that night. I'll never forget it. I was so looking forward to the trip to Baton Rouge the next year because I wanted my revenge. I felt like I was part of it. I wanted the revenge in the worst way, but I'll never forget Sean Wallace, I believe was his name, Carlos.
Yeah.
He had a pick in that game, and it broke my heart. So it's just a fun rivalry, and like you said, both fan bases, they mirror each other to the T. I call Southern like our first cousins. They're just, they're so similar. I've never met a fan base that really looks like Jackson State's fan base in terms of the cockiness, the arrogance, and being able to travel and put those RVs on the road and really follow their team. And I don't think I've ever met a Southern fan that did not love Southern in the same manner. Jackson State fans love Jackson State, so
Right.
it's a fun rivalry.
Man, it is, to me, it is the rivalry. I think I call it the best kept secret in college football. The only thing that separates this game from the Bayou Classic and the Magic City Classic and the Southern Heritage Classic is that this one is usually not on television. For you to experience the Southern Jackson State game, you have to be in the stadium. So
Right.
a lot of people are not aware of this rivalry. They hear about the boom box and the rivalry between the bands, but you have to be in the stadium to be able to witness that and experience that. And I hope moving forward that this game will be broadcasted because, in my opinion, there is not a more intense rivalry, not only in black college football, but I'm thinking in college football, period. And it's just because we're so similar to each other that it's downright scary how similar the fan bases are, the schools are, the teams are. So it's just a wonderful time when we're able to link up.
I agree, and I'm hoping that both teams, since we're going to be on ESPN, and that's huge. I'm really hoping that both teams bring their A game. I'm talking about play hard like you've never played before. Just go for it because this is your time. Just not saying we've never been on TV before, but it's ESPN is ESPN, so that's huge. And speaking of rivalries, Charles, as you know, the Boombox. This rivalry is also called the Boombox Classic. And the Human Jukebox will not be traveling to the game, unfortunately, due to COVID restrictions. And the Sonic Boom will not be performing on the field, but only in the stands. So being that the bands are a true intricate part of not only HBCU community, but definitely between these schools, how much of a difference maker will this be for both teams and for the fans?
Well, I think it will be a difference maker. It's the intensity of the rivalry will still be there because it's Jackson State and it's Southern, but you lose a little something in the pageantry with the jukebox not being there. And, I'll be honest, I think some Sonic Boom fans, they secretly look forward to seeing the jukebox come.
Yeah.
And vice versa. I've heard, fans of the juke, they secretly like we want to see the Boom because we like to see, where we measure up. So you talk to those old band heads, they really enjoy the rivalry as much, if not more, than the football teams themselves. So you lose a little something, but COVID being what it is probably for the best. But I think you'll still get a very intense, great game that both fan bases will just be into.
Man, absolutely. I mean, one of the things about the bands and the thing that separated this game from the others is that in this game, man, you have the bands. The zero quarter is common now, but we're talking about back in the day, it wasn't so much. So, man, our pregame stretch sessions during this game used to be amplified. It almost felt like a game. You came, you warmed up a little bit, with a little bit of edge to you because the bands were already going at it, and it just provided an amazing soundtrack, man, to get you hyped for the game. And I remember, Coach Richardson coming to us like, hey, fellas, we still got a ball game to play. Calm down, But that's what this game means. That's what it does.
Yeah, I would agree because you can set the scene. The temperature is set by the bands. We've talked about. We've talked about the fan bases being similar, so they're already amped up. And let's say it's a crisp, cool, and most of the times that I visited Jackson, Mississippi, it was in that mid-October.
Yeah.
It was nice, beautiful weather like today in Baton Rouge. And then as the sun starts going down a little bit, the energy is growing. And then let's say because Southern's the visiting team. Southern band marches in. They're in the stands, and they're getting ready. And then you hear the PA announcer, and he comes over and says, "Here comes the sonic boom," and then their traditional song, "Get Ready, 'Cause Here I Come," and the crowd is just energized even more. So not only is there's a battle on the field, there's a war in the stands.
Yeah.
It really set the tempo. And my first time in Veterans Memorial Stadium, there were people that I saw in Jackson that I had not seen in Baton Rouge for 20 years.
Wow.
Even a good Reverend Jemison, God rest his soul, he was at the game, and it sets the tone.
Mm-hmm.
It sets the tone, and then what a great game. And you mentioned Sean Wallace, Charles. He was in that ball game, and I believe the score was 13-3.
Mm-hmm.
I believe, and when Jackson State scored on the field goal, I'm gonna tell you, I wasn't prepared for the cannon that went off. and I'm gonna tell you, it was loud and it was rather shocking. But again, just little intangibles that you don't get perhaps in other games. But the band will be missed, to answer your question. But hey, in the fall,
yes,
hopefully everything will be back to a normalcy. So the band does set the tone.
Mm-hmm.
I'm definitely going to miss both of them, but I'm, like Charles said, it's some JSU fans secretly want to hear Southern play. I only want to hear them play one song and one song only, and they can play it all night, actually. It Ain't Over Till It's Over by Lenny Kravitz. I love that song.
Oh, yeah.
When I first heard them play it, the song had just come out. It was, it was a hot song, and I knew the story behind this song. Y'all know the story behind the song, right? I know you probably do, Charles. No? Nobody? Oh, I thought I was just trying to make sure. Well, Lisa Bonet and Lenny Kravitz, they had broken up.
Oh.
He wrote that song for her.
Okay.
And so because I knew the backstory, it was one of my favorite songs. I liked both of them. And then when Southern played it, I was blown away. I could not. I'm like, oh my gosh! And I don't ever want to hear any other band play it. They can't play it like Southern. Period.
Well, I'm gonna tell you why I love to hear Southern play It Ain't Over Till It's Over. It normally means they're in trouble because they play it.
Yeah, that's what I was thinking, Charles.
That's true. And they were playing it. We were winning. We were in Baton Rouge, and we were winning that game. So
I know if I hear it, it's like, oh, okay, all right.
You're scared.
I will be politically correct. It's they're in trouble. You're right, but they're behind.
Yeah,
like rally the troops. Come on. So I know BJ could probably talk about it. I know in his career there, maybe not behind in some games, but it does happen. Can you overcome? It ain't over till it's over.
2004, Alabama State down in Montgomery. You remember how we were getting beat down there, Carlos, and how we flipped that one around.
Yeah.
And it ain't over till it's over. That was one of them. We play Jackson State. There's only one song that I want to hear. And if I hear it at the end, I know that we won it. And that's If She Ain't a Gangster, You Know What, and Follow Go Home. Whoever played that one at the end, then that's it. That's a good night.
That's a good night. If you get to play that one, you have accomplished your goal.
That's true. BJ, before I go on from that question, so let me ask you this as a player. When you heard Southern playing It Ain't Over Till It's Over, did that drive y'all even further to, like, let's win this game? Did it add a fire to you?
I'm going to be honest with you. I couldn't tell you what the band was playing at certain points.
Okay.
It's like, but you can always tell when they played something and the crowd got behind you. That's what really, that's what really got you fired up. Let me give you an example. 2006, that Jackson State game that went to double overtime had no business going to overtime. We literally had 3 opportunities to like just take the game away. And I remember going to the fourth quarter before we went out on defense. Coach Richardson said, "Hey, if that band gets into it, we'll catch hell trying to get up out of here." And it's like as soon as he said that, we muffed the punt. And the roar that came from that side of the stadium and the boom crunk up, and he did not lie. It was a game that we were up, and next thing you know, we're scratching and clawing trying to get out of there. And then the game goes to double overtime, and then we lose at 31-28.
Wow. Well, okay, guys, let's discuss the ratings of each team in your own opinion. JSU number 2 in the East with a 2-1 record in conference play and 3-1 overall. Southern University is number 3 in the West with a 2-1 record in conference play and overall. How do you rate each team so far, and what will be the game changer for each team to win on Saturday? Charles?
It's going to be incumbent upon Jalen Jones to really be Jalen Jones. And he is a dynamic performer in terms of what he's able to do at the quarterback position. He, in that Alabama State loss, I thought that was a game that elevated him in my mind because he really kind of put that game on his shoulders and, almost willed them, especially in that third quarter. Unfortunately, they didn't come out on top. But as I'm starting to watch this team more and more, as he goes, so goes Jackson State's offense. Now, if they, I think BJ can look at it in the same manner. To me, these teams mirror each other so much. To me, it comes down to the line play. If either team is able to get their running game up and going, I think it opens up things in their passing games, and that makes them really, really dangerous because play action will just sucks in those linebackers or sucks in those safeties, and you get those things in behind both of them. So I think those are things that I kind of take a look at. For me, I will especially be looking at special teams play. We've been shaky with regards to our field goal kicker, but more importantly, kickoff coverage and punt coverage. I've said this now for I don't know how long. Southern has either ran back a kickoff or a punt now for I don't know how many years. And Jackson State just somehow has not been able to really take care of all 3 phases of the game. So that's one of those things that I'm really going to be paying attention to because I think offensively and defensively it's a kind of a toss-up, but it's special teams. That's that third element that I think is going to rear its head in this game.
So you mentioned before I let the other guys. You mentioned our kicker has been shaky, and that's true. Have you heard anything where something is being done differently with him, or they have somebody coming in for him, a replacement, anything?
No, I mean I think you see what you are getting. I mean I think Coach Prime is definitely trying to keep a young man filled with confidence and things of that nature.
Yeah.
But I think beyond that, it's the kickoff coverage and the punt coverage. Those are the things I'm especially nervous about with Southern because just the guys like Willie Quinn. Now you got Shikey Thomas, who he's stepped onto the scene. He ran back one against Texas Southern. So that's always an element that I'm very tuned into because Dawson Odom seems to have Southern always loaded for bear in special teams. They make a play and they figure out a way to make a play. So that's I think one of those things that jumps out for me.
Okay.
I really believe, as Charles stated, both teams are similar. They depend on quarterbacks that are very, athletic, use their athleticism. But Jones, I believe, has really shown improvement. And so when you kind of look going into the spring season with a new staff, you still have players that previously, for the most part, played the last few seasons. I would rate Jackson State probably above average of what I thought going into the spring season. I would rate Southern fair. They had a huge upset, a loss to University of Arkansas Pine Bluff that now when you look at it, UAPB came into Southern and won a football game and then went to Grambling State. So they have a lot to prove. And then you look at a new coaching staff, of course, for Jackson State and a new coach. But for Coach Odom, I guess he's the dean of SWAC football right now. But he pretty much brought in, 5 new coaches? So they're getting to know the personnel as well. But back to the quarterbacks. I think ball security will be important in this ball game. Both quarterbacks can beat you with their legs, their athleticism. But which quarterback will have a passing attack, the accuracy with their passing, to be able to keep the defenses honest? Because both of them, I believe, if Southern or Jackson State, their goal is going to be defensively to make the other opponent one-dimensional. So who will have a balanced attack? You talked about special teams, Shaquille Thomas with a kickoff return against Texas Southern. But then you also have to look at field goal attempts, punt coverage. Southern has blocked a punt in the spring season. They've had they've had a punt block. So those are some of kind of the intangibles. The line of scrimmage is always important. The big guys up front, they have to do a tremendous job and be consistent. You kind of seeing that with Southern University from the outside looking in. I'm sure Jackson State has improved in their offensive, line play. But ball security by both quarterbacks, no turnovers, and of course special teams. And specifically for Southern, what I'm going to be watching for is on first down. I think Alabama State showed that they had some success with throwing on first down and completing passes. I cringe when Southern gets in 3rd and 6, 7, 3rd and long. And then on defense, on 3rd down, get off the field. Extra plays, extra drives, you got to be careful of that. So just kind of what I'll be looking for in the game Saturday.
Okay.
Now, what I'm looking for is who controls the line of scrimmage. That's what's going to tell us a lot. Which one of these teams can control the line of scrimmage. Now, for Jackson State, I think that how does that offensive line look with those starters back? We know that they had some guys out against Alabama State, and they struggled picking up blitz packages especially. Yeah. Now, I know that when you miss your center that's the quarterback of your offensive line. He calls out those blitz packages and letting guys know who and where to go. So how does that look with those guys back? And then also from a special team standpoint, Jackson State has almost had a punt block in almost every game this year. It's like been within like an inch from being blocked. Southern is going to go after the punter. Ain't no ands, ifs, and buts about it. They're going to go after the punter. So how does Jackson State look? How can they protect the punter? And then the quarterbacks, both Jalen Jones as well as Darius Skelton, who can be efficient in the pass game without turning the football over. Both of them, we know what they can do athletically with their feet. We understand that, but who can be more efficient in the pass to take the pressure off that run game? Because if neither one is efficient through the air, then both of these things will just line up to stop the run. And that's how you end up getting into one of those 7-6 ball games that we used to get back in the day. So it's going to be very important for quarterback play for these guys to start efficient, be efficient and effective, because I think the quarterback who plays the best and doesn't turn it over is going to give his team the opportunity to win the ball game. So that's what I'm looking for.
Okay. And I know y'all gonna laugh, but I'm going back to this kicker thing, because the reason why I asked you were they looking for a replacement, Charles, is because I know I started the kickball league in Jackson in 2012, and my team won back-to-back, and I'm a kicker. So
all right.
If they need me, I'm ready to suit up. That's why I was asking that question.
10-4, gotcha.
So can you put that word in?
I will do that.
Appreciate it.
I will talk to Coach Pollard tomorrow, so we'll make sure you put that in.
That's awesome. Well, guys, we mentioned some games from the past earlier on in the show, but what is by far your favorite game for this rivalry? The one that has turned into an instant classic, the one you can watch over and over again, the one you can visually see in your mind and wish you can go back in time to that particular game.
Wow, I know one that I would not watch. It's the one I watched today, and it brought back memories. Jackson State Southern, when it was like a touchdown here. It was so many touchdowns scored in the final minutes, and Jackson State won in the end with I guess under 5 seconds to play. I definitely won't be watching. I definitely won't be watching that one. I've already
forgotten.
That's my favorite one. Yeah, that's why I've forgotten the year already. 2010. Yeah, I knew that. Put it in my long-term memory, way back, way back. But 1999 SWAC football championship, the first one in Birmingham. Boy, tremendous. Rashawn Anderson, Michael Hayes, Terrence Levy. You had the Dog Day defense for Southern University, Jackson State, a defense that had really been doing well coming into that championship game, and game played on BET, getting a TV shot while they're interviewing Bo Jackson in the press box, and I'm looking dead at the camera. It was my 30 seconds of fame, so I must add that. Yes, 30 seconds. And in 2013, another SWAC championship game in Houston, Texas, an ice storm, kept the crowd down a little bit. I really believe, Charles and BJ, if Mother Nature wouldn't have intervened, I really believe you'd have 50,000 at least for that ball game. And I had a chance to sit in the crowd and just be a regular fan. And wow, back and forth. Jackson State was favorite coming into that ball game, and Southern pulls it out. Everyone remembers an eligible player basically went out of bounds. He was a receiver, and the touchdown was nullified. And when I tell you, hearing in my left ear is not 100%. It was so much screaming going on, and what an atmosphere! And those two just really, among others, stand out to me. But I'll say once again, when these two teams get together, it's that same type of atmosphere, even if it's not a championship at stake. That's how intense this rivalry has been.
That's true.
Yeah.
BJ?
For me, it would be the 1999 SWAC championship. My parents, went to Alabama A&M and Alabama State respectively.
Mm-hmm.
My family is pretty much split between Alabama State and Alabama A&M. I thought I had seen intense rivalry until 1999 as a sophomore in high school, SWAC championship, and I was able to witness Southern and Jackson State, and was able to see both fan bases together. I had seen them, before, but never together, and just the noise, the excitement, the intensity. My mind was made up that day that I'm going to go to one of these schools if I get the opportunity. I'm not passing that up. So that one sticks out to me. The 2003 game, because that was my first one. So that one sticks out. The 2003 in Jackson, that one sticks out to me. 2006, because that's the one game a lot of games I played in, I can tell you series by series what happened. 2006, I can, because that was my only loss to Jackson State. And then the 2010 game, and then the 2013 SWAC championship. That game in Houston, I remember making the flight. And I remember my flight being delayed so many times because of the ice storm, and I was starting to wonder, like, am I even gonna make it to Houston? And then getting there and just seeing how many people actually made it, and talking to people that didn't make it. And, to see us pull that one out when no one expected us to beat Jackson State, to see us pull that one out, it was an amazing feeling. So those are the games that come back to me and give me, when I think Southern Jackson State, I think about those ball games first.
BJ, before we go to Charles, how did your parents feel when you told them you wanted to go to Jackson State or Southern and not one of their alma maters?
So my mom, my dad playing at Alabama State and being who he is there. My dad felt like, hey, he's just talking and he'll be all right. He's just talking. And on signing day 2002, I came out of high school. I went to UAB, and that didn't work out, and decided to transfer. One of the schools that I wanted to transfer to was Alabama State. It was Alabama State, and at that time, Alabama State was kind of going through some things. You started to see some rumblings that Coach L.C. Cole might be out, and there might be some sanctions. And my dad, he was honest with me. He said, if you want to go to Alabama State, I'm with you now. But if you want to look elsewhere, I understand, because we don't know what might happen. And we made a call down to Baton Rouge, and it was, my dad was cool with it until that December, when I came back home in December and we played in the SWAC championship game, and Alabama State was lined up on the other side. And we walked out of Birmingham with a SWAC championship. And I remember my dad coming to the fence after the game, and it was almost, he said, "I'm proud of you, good job, enjoy the moment." He gave me a hug and he walked out of the stadium. He was done.
Wow. Wow. I bet you that was bittersweet for you a little bit, because, yeah, wow. Okay.
Now, my dad, he let me know, where he said, I'm not rooting for Southern when they play Bama State. My dad would have on his Bama State Letterman jacket, his Bama State shirt. I'll cheer for you, but I ain't cheering for them.
Right. Absolutely.
Understood.
Charles.
Where do I start? I mean, I can go back to that night Southern broke the SWAC win streak. That was one of those ones that you're still young, 13, 14 years old, and I was crushed that night. That sticks out for me. The 1999 SWAC championship was such a tremendous event. The stadium was full. All the SWAC bands were there, and everything was just in place. Television, it's Jackson State Southern. It literally, in my mind, could get no bigger than that moment. And then, who knew that the SWAC had struck upon something that would last to this day. And it was just a tremendous atmosphere. And like I said, that was one of those Jackson State teams I didn't think they were going to lose. I mean, they were that talented. It was one of the most talented teams that I've watched from offense, defense, special teams. They had it all. And they lost that day. And that was another one that really it took a little something out of me. I remember going to eat afterwards, and it just didn't taste good whatsoever.
All right, come on, Chris, Charles.
Oh, man.
Look, that's Lenny Williams.
Oh, it felt like that. I felt like, that.
Yes.
But, and then, 2010, I mean, you got 4 lead changes in the last 3 minutes, and the best thing ever, BJ, we were talking about, when each band gets to, signal that gangsta B, and you get an opportunity to tell the other fan base to go home, Southern started playing it, and then I'll be doggone if Jackson State didn't get that last drive with Casey Terrio, Rico Richardson, and Renty Rollins, those guys, and Jackson State gets an opportunity to play it. So it was just an unbelievable atmosphere. It's one of the only times that I've seen Jackson State fans leave the stands and rush the field. It was just so much elation that night on the field. And then, 2013, the ice storm. I'm in Houston. It was the last football game my sister got to see before they moved to Germany. So, there's a lot of memories on that one as well. So I have to say probably 3 out of 4 memories are not good with Jackson State. Yeah. but that's what makes the rivalry what it is. I mean, you enjoy it year in, year out. So I can't wait for Saturday. Can't get here fast enough.
Absolutely. Well, 2010 is definitely my favorite. I've mentioned it. I've talked to you guys about that before. That was my first time actually ever crying at a football game. It was tears of joy, tears of nervousness. It was a lot going on, and both sides of fans were in a frenzy. It was just crazy. And the Hail Mary pass that Casey threw, I promise, it was like Aaron Rodgers threw that. It was beautiful. It was beautiful. It was just like I had never. I'm more of a basketball girl, but I think that game took it to a different place for me with football. I always liked football, but not like I did basketball. And that game, I guess, actually being there and witnessing everything that was going on, it changed my my feelings about football. I fell in love with it that day. So it was that is definitely my most memorable game. And even though I like games like that, I don't fight to the finish. I don't know if I can take that on Saturday.
Oh.
But I think it's going to end up being that way. So we shall see. We shall see. So, guys, this is Coach Prime, Deion Sanders' first game against SU. And on Monday in the SWAC Media Zoom meeting, he said that he was very excited for this game due to the history he has learned of the rivals and from what people have been telling him, about this huge rival between SU and Jackson State. Out of the 4 games he has coached this season, what should he expect differently about this game? BJ?
Intensity.
Yeah.
And this thing, I guess a step up in the talent level that you've seen in the past, outside of Bama State. This one is real. I joke like the Bayou Classic is serious too, but we've never needed, the great state troopers from the state of Louisiana, Mississippi to keep us separated, like we did with Jackson State. It is an intense rivalry. There are some things said on the field that you won't want your mama to find out about. There are some things done underneath the pile that you know what I mean. So man, this game, it's intense, man. The hitting is a little bit harder. Guys go a little bit harder. It's an intense rivalry, and this is the new chapter. The next chapter in the book that's Southern Jackson State. So, soak it in, and as intense as it's going to be Saturday, there's nothing compared to what you're going to see in the fall.
Yeah,
absolutely.
Carlos. Well, I think BJ just spelled it out beautifully.
Yeah.
Intensity, emotions. Coach Sanders may have to catch himself. He may think he feels that all-pro defense is back, but no, don't come out on the field, Coach Sanders. But you see what I'm saying? He's an energy person. He will feel that, and I believe that the coaching staff, not that they have to prove anything, but I think, coaches are former players for the most part. So they understand the emotion and intensity of this ball game. So, as BJ stated, that's what sticks out to me. And as I was listening to you talk about that 2010 Jackson State Southern game, the one that I said I would like to forget.
Mm-hmm.
I think after Saturday, my favorite group, Maze. Oh, they've saved me many times. They've saved me many times. One of their songs, Joy and Pain, like Sunshine and Rain.
Yes.
That's going to be a song that people are going to be thinking about, because I know how I felt after a loss to Jackson State, although I have not felt that pain and rain in a while.
Well, get ready to get your
I'll
umbrella.
be in just an extra bad mood if I have to think about joy and pain like sunshine and rain, because it'll be pain and rain from a mental aspect. But
Absolutely.
Hey, it's going to be great.
Yeah. Charles?
Yeah, I mean, I can't say it any better than what DJ and Carlos have said. I mean, I know how I felt. Those losses to SU. I mean, it took me a second to recover. So, he is going to get I believe, an appetizer to the intensity of this game, and it is going to be, there for bear. It's going to be one of those ones that's going to, this is his indoctrination into the swag. If he thought he got a little bit of it down at Alabama State, he thought the fans were hostile there. Hey, this is what it's about. Yeah, this is definitely get ready. So, you get a taste of it now and then. I think when we get down to Baton Rouge, you get the full-fledged entree down there.
He will definitely, Carlos, you said he's an energy man, and he definitely is. Mm-hmm. The energy will shift, and he will feel it when he come out on that field on Saturday, for sure.
Mm-hmm.
It's very, you can cut it with a knife. The tension, the intensity, the anxiousness, all of it, it's all balled up in one ball, one roll or whatever, and it's just, yeah, he will get a taste of it. And like you said, Charles, that was child's play with Alabama. He'll see how Southern really feels about Jackson State on Saturday, and how we feel about them. So it's a mutual feeling. But even in that, we still have friends and people that we can call. I called on Carlos and BJ. They're Southern, they alum and fans, and we can talk and laugh and verbal banter, and that's a good thing. So, I mean, it'll be interesting to see everything, though. I'm excited that I am. So, well, guys, I guess that's the show for today. But before I go, let me get it's always a pleasure to have you on the show all the time. I really, really enjoy having you guys on the show. So tell the listeners how they can follow each of you on social media. Charles?
Yeah, you can hear me every Tuesday and Thursday on Dr. Bill's Inside the HBCU Sports Lab on the Black College Sports Network. We also now are doing a Sunday sort of a wrap-up show where we take a look at the games that were played on Saturday. I now do the pregame show, which is a show that I do with my partner Chris Neely, and we do this show weekly. It's an hour before kickoff where we kind of take a look inside the game. We give you a weather report. We talk to coaches. We talk to the opposition, and we give kind of our wrap-up before kickoff before Jackson State plays. So be sure to catch us, the pregame show, also on the Black College Sports Network.
Awesome. Carlos?
Well, I'm not as busy as Charles Bishop, but let me say this to Charles, Bishop, and B.J. Jones. I've had both on the show.
And me.
Yeah, I was going to get to you, Sonia. Yeah, and also we're going to have you coming back on the Carlos Brown Show. But first and foremost, these young men, they have really grown in the business, and I appreciate having both of them on the show that I host, the Carlos Brown Show. It's on Saturdays. You can hear it from 10 a.m. to 12 noon Central Standard Time on the Open Mic Broadcast Network and Spreaker.com. Social media, just search on Facebook, The Carlos Brown Show, on Twitter, franchise_show, and The Carlos Brown Show on Instagram.
Man, the killer part about it, I actually met Charles in person, with Carlos Brown a few years back. I think it was 4 or 5 years ago, at the Smoke Hill Church. What is it? Church Hill.
Yeah, Church Hill.
Smoke Stop. Yeah, man. Right before, one of these weekends right here, man. So it's been a pleasure to meet and grow with these guys, and as well as you, Sonya, and just talk sports. Sonya found out I was a Jag the hard way. We went through and then,
Trying to put my belongings in his Jaguar book bag or whatever. Oh my gosh.
And they were kept safe. They hadn't been kept that safe. They hadn't been that well taken care of since then.
I sanitized all of that stuff. I sanitized everything out of there with my Lysol. I'm just kidding.
But, you can find me Saturdays. And usually the last segment on the Carlos Brown shows, and me and Carlos, we have a good time there. Sometimes me and Carlos, we have to talk each other off the ledge.
Yeah. He's absolutely right.
And, of course, you can see all the work that I do. HBCU Game Day, as well as with the Open Mic Network. You get my Hot Minutes, the barbershop. Sunday mornings, you can catch me with Charles Bishop, Mike Washington, and Dr. Cavill as we recap, the week that was in the conference. And then Sunday night, you catch me Swag Sports Central. And I'm just chopping it up and just having a good time. But the title to that is called Unscripted, and you'll see that coming to a platform soon. Looking forward to seeing how that grows. And it's BJ Jones Unscripted, and you can find me on Twitter at Inside HBCU F-Ball, as well as on Facebook, BJ Jones, and the Inside HBCU Football page.
Awesome. And you can follow me on She Say Sports on Facebook, She Say Sports 23 on Instagram. And before I go, I'm so proud of all of you guys, how you're growing in your craft and just doing your thing. It's been an honor and a privilege to work beside all of you. This is the first time we've all been together, but individually, and giving me wisdom and knowledge on things regarding sports and life. So I appreciate you all, and thank you so much. It's been a pleasure this evening. It's been a pleasure.
Thank you.
Thanks for having me.
Thank you.
Appreciate it.
Well, guys, that's my show for today. Until next time, this is Sonya with She Say Sports, and I'll see you on the radio.